Greetings, family. Dumelang. Upsheni, hello. Good day, good evening, depending on where you are watching this video from. Welcome to another YouTube video with me, your host, Mathix. Now, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about something very interesting. We're going to be talking about the Serpent race. We're going to be talking about the Anunnaki, and we're going to be looking at a different angle of what or who the Serpent people or the Serpent race are and the Anunnaki. So before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Push that notification button so that you can get notified every time we upload a new video. So family, this is a very interesting topic, because number one, if you look at our position on the earth as humans, we seem to stand at the top of the so-called food chain. I don't know why they have to call it a food chain, but we seem to be the smartest being according to us, because we like to classify intelligence according to what we think intelligence is. And when we look at nature, we can clearly see that everything that we've learned how to do, we've taken it from nature. So who's really the intelligent one here? I mean, because we ourselves are not separated from nature, we are a product of nature. I mean, if you look at certain birds that have been using clay to build their nests for thousands of years, the wasp is said to be the place where the first people who created paper got their idea from. The dragonfly, if you look at a helicopter, if you look at the aerodynamics of certain fighter jets, and you look at the streamlined body of certain birds of prey like falcons or hawks, you can see where they get that inspiration from. So now when it comes to looking at everything on the planet, it seems that there's no entity that we can talk with that doesn't look like us. So it gets very interesting now, because when you read and when you listen to people, they speak about a race of reptilian beings, humanoid reptilian beings that come from the star system Alpha Draco. So they come from that star system. They speak about the reptilians, they speak about the Greys, they speak about the Anunnaki, they speak about all these extraterrestrial beings. Now, are they extraterrestrial beings? The universe, I feel, is too vast for it to just have us as the last, the cream, like the cherry on top. It's too vast, too many star systems, there's too many star clusters out there for there to just be us. Now, I like speaking about things that I have personal experience with. So I'm not gonna say whether or not they are reptilian beings. What I'm going to tell you in this video is how black people seem to have a relation orally to what is called the Anunnaki and what is also called the reptilians, and we're gonna break that down. Now, many teachers have said that they are entities, even taught in the Emerald Tablets, that they are other beings living among us in planes that we cannot see with our physical eyes. And it said that these beings come from different dimensional portals, and they can use our bodies, especially if we are vibrating on the lower spectrums of things. They can use your body as a vehicle to be able to transmute into different dimensional portals, because the human has the ability to tap into realities that many other beings cannot, because they have certain chakras not active in them. So they may be only to function in the physical world, or they may be only able to function in the spiritual world if you are dealing with higher entities, but they may not have the physical body or the physical centers that would allow a being to manifest and incarnate in a physical body. So they can only deal with things in the spirit. And if they want to have physical interaction with the physical world, they would have to attach themselves to the auric field of a human in order to vicariously experience physicality. Now, they are malevolent beings and benevolent beings. So some beings that attach themselves to humans have bad intentions. That's what they would call demonic possessions. And then like you just find someone like now doing something that is totally against the good of what they would in their right mind feel is the right thing to do, right? So now when it comes to the subject of reptilians, they say that there's an ancient race of beings that came from the stars that mated with humans. They speak about the Anunnaki as well. And when you listen to the stories that the Dogons speak about, they say that
when the Nomos landed in Africa,
some many thousands of years ago, they gave our people knowledge of the cosmos. They taught our people the mysteries of the cosmos. And what they were teaching us, rather, it wasn't that they were teaching, they were reminding us of where we had fallen from. They were reminding us of our seat in the higher galactic council of beings. So they are other beings that we have been interacting with throughout history, but we have been quarantined in this specific quadrant sector of the Milky Way galaxy in order to undergo a cycle and a process, reincarnation, until we raise ourselves up back into Christ consciousness. So we have been quarantined away from the certain from the rest of the universe, because something happened in the past. There were wars in space that took place, and then there had to be a process of healing, and most of the beings that were involved in these wars that took place regarding different star clusters, all of them are happening here in this particular physical earth that we call Gaia. That's where all of that is taking place. So now, the reptilians. Who are the reptilians? The reptilians Do you want to know who the reptilians are, or what the reptilians are? And the Anunnaki. You are the reptilians, you are the Anunnaki. If you read Zachariah Stitch's books about the gods and the Anunnaki who came from a different planet, they came here on Earth, on Nibiru. There were these great beings, and then if you listen to stories passed down orally in Africa, it's said that our race came from a star, particularly the star system Sirius, along the Orion constellation, right? So it's said that we came here using the Merkaba, which is the light body. So we came to Earth as Etherian beings. We came to Earth as light beings millions and eons ago. And our bodies over time, as we were participating in this physical environment, became solid, or it solidified, and certain structures began to develop, right? So now, if you look at the ancient walls of Egypt or Kemet, what they call Egypt today, if you look at the certain walls, you see people wearing a headband, and then there's a cobra sticking out of that headband. You know what that thing is called? That is called the Uraeus. The Uraeus is a symbol of what is known as the Kundalini energy. The Kundalini energy is that primal energy that lays dormant at the base of your spine. And once it is active, it is an atomic energy. It releases this atomic energy that rises. It rises up your spinal cord, navigating through the different chakras, and it cleans out certain etheric threads that tie you to karmic events. So you keep coming back here because you have etheric threads along your auric field that keep you in a cycle of coming back here until you learn certain lessons. So the ones who were known as the masters of the Kundalini energy in the olden days, they were called the Nugus, or the Serpentine people. Let's bring it back to let's start it here in South Africa. Here in South Africa, we have a word for a snake called inyoka. Inyoka, Kasperi or Kasotho or Wareke Noga. That same word is called a naga. A naga means serpent. The same word again that means serpent is Naki, because the K and the G, the K and the G can be interchangeable. So the Anunnaki were the ones who were masters of this Kundalini energy, because it gives you access to extraterrestrial or access to information on a cosmic level. So the ones who were the masters, or the ones who had awakened this particular serpentine energy, were known as the Anunnaki, because even the word Anunnaki, if you break it down, Anu means on high. Anu means on high. Naki means serpent, so Anunnaki is serpent on high. So it was those people who were able to raise their Kundalini and then tap into their God energy, because now the serpent sits at this point. It sits at the highest point. And before we learned this, that when the Hyksos invaded Kemet in the 15th or 16th dynasty, the kings there were not called pharaohs. Pharaohs came later. It was NGU. So they were known as the Nugus, or what we still hear in the southern part of Africa, what we know as the Nguni people. That's a similar origin, because if you trace back the origins of the Nguni people, it said that they come from the land of Egypt, or from the land of Kemet. So most of the information that we kept from that has been brought forth through our oral tradition, or through our oral dialect. The way we speak carries the memory of who we were. So the Nguni were the Nugus, they are the Nagas. They are, because the word also NGU can also be interchangeable with NTR, which stands for nature or netta, the Neteru, which were the personifications of aspects of God. So the Nugus is the Nguni, it's the Netta, it's the NTR, which also stands for Nut, and it also stands for, the NTR is dealing with the psychological states, because it also stands for Ntoro or Toro, which are the psychological states that you can tap into once you raise this particular energy that's laying dormant. And now, when we speak about the reptilian race, the serpent race, sometimes what the invaders did, or when Africa was invaded and they found all this information, this mystical information, what they did was that in order to hide it, they gave the historical people of the land, they gave them certain names so that people wouldn't be able to identify for, oh, okay, they're talking about these people. Just in like how in the Secret Doctrine by Blavatsky, they speak about the third root race. There they name them root races. So they would say that black people were the third root race, but they don't straight up say root race. They only tell you certain things, that these people were the were the spiritual forefathers and mothers. They're the ones who ushered in so many of the activities on a spiritual level that we see on earth. But they won't straight up come up and say that, okay, it was this group of people. Because at the time, the people who were studying this occult knowledge saw the very same people who we are finding all this information in these temples and in all these places that we are raiding, and also places that have been buried under the sand. The very same people that are being enslaved are the very same people who brought in this knowledge. They in fact are our parents. So in order to hide and protect themselves, certain keywords or certain words were created in order to mask who are these people talking about, which is the melanated people. So when you speak about the Nagus, that's the Naga. The Naga means the serpent. And in the Bible, they speak about be ye wise as serpents, because the serpent represents that. It represents wisdom. So the Anunnaki were the ones who were able to raise the serpentine energy and be able to control that. So those, and it said that when you listen to the mythology of the Dogons, and when you listen to certain teachers, that we don't come from here. We don't come from here. We come from the stars. We come from the stars, and we came here eons, millennia ago. And through cycles of time, we forgot that. But there were those among us that were able to now lift up or lift ourselves back up into these pristine states of our true state, or the true state of being. And those were who were known as the serpentine people, the serpent race, those who were able to master the Kundalini energy, because the Kundalini energy is depicted as a serpent that lays dormant. They say that it's curled 3.5 times at the base of the spine, and once it's activated, it rises up the spinal cord through what they call the Shushuna, and then twisting alongside it are two nerves called the Ida and the Pingala that crisscross. And these energies, one is masculine and one is feminine. And as they raise and as they go up the spinal cord, they become responsible for an alchemical process to happen inside of you. And that alchemical process takes you from a mere human to a god-like being. So those were who the Anu, or that's who the Anunnaki are. They are the Nagus, the Nguni people, because remember also, we migrated to many different parts of the world, but most of the words that you find in Southern Africa, you also find them in the cultures of Nigeria, you find them in Mali, you find similarities in Congo, in Ghana, in Somalia, even in the East, you find this, even in the West. So you first and foremost are this being. Sometimes they keep trying to point to things out there to distract you, that you are that extraterrestrial that you keep expecting to come back. The version of you that is of a higher nature is that extraterrestrial. You're dormant right now because the energy is sleeping. But we are first and foremost the serpent race, because we had that ability to master the Kundalini energy and raise it. Now, Draco constellation, reptilians or the reptoids, Octurians, the Pleiadians, different beings from different star clusters. We can talk about them, but the first thing that I want you to understand is yourself. Because how are you going to be able to now deal with these extraterrestrial beings if you have no full knowledge of yourself and you come face to face with highly superior intellectual entities if you know nothing about yourself? So you first of all need to understand your history and your connection into these particular mystical beings or these names, because sometimes they create these names to distract you and keep pointing to things outside when you are that being, you are that alien. With that show Ancient Aliens is talking about you. It's talking about you. So yeah, family, this is a very big topic, because as I said, this is just the one side of it. This is the physical, biological side of it. I haven't really touched on the reptilians, and now I'm specifically talking about the ones that they say they come from the Draco star system, because there's many. This story has layers to it. This story is layered. It's not surface level. It's very layered. It's a story within a story within a story. But in summary for this video, Serpent on high, Anunnaki, the snake, raising off that Uraeus. When that energy rises, it strikes the pineal gland, it illuminates you and enlightens you, and then you become the illuminated one. So you are the serpent race, or you are the Anunnaki that came here to this planet on a spaceship, and not a metal spaceship. No, your body is able to produce what is known as the Merkaba, the chariot of fire that allows you to travel interdimensionally. So peace to the family. We'll continue with this topic because it's a very interesting one. Much love.